Well, that comes later. This isn't the first time Chris Chan's name changed.
Oh, wait, really? I didn't know that.
So it used to be Christopher Weston Chandler. And when Chris was around age 4, like 4 or 5 or something.
You had the light speed dash.
Yeah.
Oh.
Chris and their father went to a mall, and this mall has this Christmas animatronic bear orchestra thing.
Okay.
And they have a mall employee with like a microphone, and they interact with the audience. And so this is like the origin of Chris Chan's like name, basically. Or like their name is Christian Weston Chandler for this part of their life.
Yeah.
And so basically it was originally Christopher, I believe, and they were talking to this animatronic bear. Chris was obsessed with this bear. Not obsessed, but just talking, having a conversation with the animatronic bear.
Okay, yeah.
And so the bear had apparently heard their name incorrectly, and they were like, "Oh, Christian." They heard Christopher as Christian, and Chris Chan, I guess, took it as a sign from God that was the name that they were supposed to go with, because apparently Chris's father wanted to name Chris Christian, but they went with Christopher. And the animatronic bear, the employee getting Chris Chan's name wrong, was like, "Oh, this is God telling us what your name should be." So they legally changed their name to Christian, so they became Christian Weston Chandler.
Okay.
And that's how the first Quick came about. Christine Weston Chandler came later when they transitioned.
Christine, that's what it was,
yeah. But as for like early life, so Chris was raised by kind of older parents, like even by the 80s standards.
How old were they?
I think when they had Chris, like his dad was already like in his 50s or something, I think.
Oh.
And like his mom was like late 40s, maybe early mid 40s. I don't really know. I know that
Jeremiah, you don't need to be hugging the wall.
Yeah. I know that Chris Chan's...
When you somersault, it'll just go forward.
I know Chris Chan's mom is significantly younger than their dad. So I know Barbara is younger than...
oh God, I forgot we knew their names.
We do know their names. Well, I remember the mom's name, not just because of what happened, but just because it's easier to remember. I don't remember Chris Chan's dad's name. But anyway...
No.
Technically, sure.
Well,
no, not really. Well, yeah. Anyway, so there's a lot of stuff we can cover early childhood. That's like the origin of the name. I guess another thing that's important to mention with Chris Chan is that Chris Chan is...
Are you spin dashing?
I'm not trying to.
So here's the thing.
Hang on. Jeremiah, you do remember how to somersault, right?
You press... There you
yeah,
go.
there you go. You have to stand still, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you could roll.
No, you have to stand still.
Well, I think the mod that we have will allow you to do it while rolling. Actually, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's... I think it allows you to
this is scary.
I think it just allows you to have your momentum, actually.
Okay.
Because in the original game, the somersault would, like, kill all momentum. I think this mod allows you to do it without...
Jeremiah, I think you can literally walk past these enemies, by the way.
You can just walk past them. You don't need to fight them.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even see that over there.
Yeah.
So an important thing to mention with Chris Chan is that they do suffer from autism. And not that it's a problem, but it does kind of show kind of Chris Chan's like developmental, issues. And it is an important part of discussing why they are the way they are. Not because they're like, haha, look, they're autistic. But more so because with the context of Chris Chan's parents being older and having Chris Chan, later in their lives, they didn't really know how to...
Treat autism?
Yeah, they didn't really know how to treat autism. And so a lot of the reasons why Chris Chan acted the way that they did was just kind of poor parenting from their parents. objectively bad parenting. I'm not gonna judge, their lifestyle or anything.
Yeah.
Wait,
But
never mind.
objectively, it was a bad lifestyle because
There's a door right there.
I believe Barbara was like a massive hoarder, so their house was just like kind of always dirty. From what I remember, this part sucks. I remember this part. But
Oh yeah. I remember this.
another so kind of the thing is how they raised Chris Chan was, hey, you have autism.
Jeremiah, just keep going.
Everyone is going to treat you badly. That I believe that was kind of like the thing that they raised Chris Chan with was everyone is going to treat you badly because of your autism. But they also said because of your autism, he's autistic, he can't help himself. So they basically raised Chris with this belief that everything that they did was excusable because they had autism. And so that becomes a problem later on with some like other details. But yeah, so not only did they raise Chris to believe that everyone would, hate them because they were autistic or like wouldn't treat them like other kids, but they also were just kind of like, yeah, you're dead. But
I mean, we got the checkpoint.
Yeah, you did. Oh.
Well, no, we got the
Yeah.
checkpoint, and then I think when you restart, doesn't it start
I
with the
don't
checkpoint?
I don't think so.
Oh, have fun.
I died all the way.
Yeah, you gotta start. But
At least you know where you're going.
But so they raised Chris Chan with this idea that everything that they do can be excused because of their autism.
Because they're autistic.
And
yeah.
if you have any sort of, basic knowledge, while, autism is on a spectrum and there's different, developmental struggles or hurdles that can, affect one particular person but not necessarily like another. Yeah, autism doesn't just mean that you can just be excused for everything.
for what you do.
Smart ass people I know that are autistic.
There are, definitely some people out there who excuse what they do as being autistic.
But so Chris had just kind of a poor, upbringing with their parents, just because their parents just didn't really understand autism. Nor did anyone really in the 80s. At this point, I believe they just kind of classified autism under the singular thing,
Isn't
like it wasn't a
ADHD
spectrum.
also under that same group?
Well, ADHD was really ADD,
Yeah,
but we didn't,
but
God.
so Christian had this life, and it was pretty sad because I know a lot of people just Christian, they had struggles, communicating with others. Fair enough, right? But because of that, they kind of were outcasted. They didn't really have a lot of friends. It kind of gets really sad later on in high school because he did have a group of friends in high school. It was this group of girls, and Chris called them their gal pals. They're like, these are my gal pals.
It's the right one.
And so, but it's really sad because Chris later found out that their parents were basically paying these girls to be his friend.
Why? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's pretty sad. They basically were just like, yeah, like, just here's some money, can you just like be his friend kind of thing.
When does Sonic fit into all of this?
Well, we'll get to that. Actually, kind of right now, because this is like the other important thing that I can remember from Chris's childhood. There's a lot. There's a whole lot of details. I've watched like 10 episodes of the documentary, and I'm still nowhere near everything.
By the way, Jeremiah, to put it into perspective, Christian is one of the most documented people there is.
I can.
Not just on the internet, in like genuinely in history.
Wow. Okay then.
I do think it should stop.
It's borderline obsessive.
Yeah, there is some stalking element to it.
My question is, what did that nigga do to make them that mad?
We'll get to it because there's a lot. There's no one particular.
Yeah, there's
event.
no one particular event to affect.
Because like I've noticed y'all like switching between, or you say Christine, so I'm presuming they are trans.
They are trans now.
transitioned,
Yes. But that comes later. That's like in 2014. We're still in the 80s. Late or like 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
So
the
here's where
Child Garden.
Sonic fits in. So Chris Chan became a fan of Sonic in the 90s when Sonic came out. Chris Chan, watched the cartoons, played a lot of video games and stuff. Because that was their thing. Like that was just kind of what they enjoyed. That was like their comfort thing because Chris Chan got a lot of their personality and quirks from media, because since they didn't really have a lot of friends and struggled with social cues, a lot of the things that they learned to like socially interact with others was from media. So like there's videos where they'll try to do my favorite thing that Chris Chan does is when they're trying to be serious or something. You know how in movies, if someone's wearing glasses, they'll like take their glasses off and they'll move their head dramatically and wave their hair.
I've seen videos of that.
Chris Chan will do that, and so it's really sad because their parents not only had it was a poor upbringing, but a lot of the social cues and stuff that Chris Chan did learn was from media. And kids are cruel, and they're gonna make fun of you if you act like a television character,
like a television character, yeah.
And so, but Chris Chan enjoyed video games, and so basically Chris Chan was meant for stardom, because Chris Chan got on television multiple times, and the first time they got on television, they were, I believe, around 10, 11 years old. They had actually won a Sega Genesis, or a Sonic a contest, a giveaway thing. So Chris Chan won a $1,000 voucher for any Sega games or consoles. So
you can walk past this.
So they were able to get a bunch of stuff. They probably got a Genesis. They probably got Sega CD. Every Sonic game that was probably available at the time.
But weren't Sonic games $80 back then?
I think if you were to put into perspective the money value back then it would equate to $80.
Yeah, it'd be equivalent because of inflation, but at the time it still probably was around $60.
That's probably
It just would have been $80 equivalent.
Yeah, equivalent to $80 nowadays standard.
But so Chris Chan had won.
Get the other one so you can get a life. Never mind.
So Chris Chan had won $1,000. You
gotta get the rocket.
When they were young, and so they won this giveaway, and so they became just a big Sonic fan. And then later, late 90s, Pokemon came out and was a smash hit, and they became a huge Pokemon fan. And so this happened when Chris Chan was in high school. So we're gonna get to the origin of what Chris Chan is probably most well known for, aside from the other event that Hugo is aware of. But we'll get to that, Jeremiah. There's a lot of side stories. There's a lot of side stories.
Did you kill
and
the
stuff.
other robot?
Maybe.
Was there a rocket you need to launch?
Was there a switch?
The rocket.
The switch. It was the switch. You weren't fast enough. Or maybe you just didn't hit it.
All right, don't mess it up. You're back here.
Fuck this up.
But so Chris Chan, so here's the origin of what they're most known for.
I forgot to mention this, Jeremiah. Eggman's telling you to hurry the fuck up or we're gonna kill Amy.
Oh no, I heard that.
I think it actually is a time limit.
No, I don't think so.
Why do you think I'm
Maybe,
going
I don't
slow?
know.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think you do. Whatever.
Did you not hear what I said?
Anyway, so in high school, Chris was doing this project. It was a project of making a an album, basically.
Okay.
And so
hit the robot.
Yeah. Or just do that. But so Chris Chan, they had this thing where they had to make a music cover album.
Right there.
Like a music album cover, right? And so Chris Chan was told that they were not allowed to use any copyrighted characters because Chris Chan wanted to put Sonic and Pikachu and other characters on this album. You need to go down.
Go down?
Yeah, right up there.
Yeah, you can't make it to the blue one.
Okay.
And so, here, hit that.
Hit the spring. The spring will just
there
put
you go.
on.
And so, basically, Chris Chan was told that for this music cover album, that they are not allowed to use any copyrighted characters.
Okay.
So they weren't allowed to
Did
put
they
Sonic.
do it anyways?
No.
Oh.
This is the origin.
Oh.
Every fuckhead has their own OC.
Yes, you actually are in the right ballpark. So they were told that they couldn't use copyrighted characters. So Chris Chan was able to get around this by creating their very own OC, Sonichu. And it's a mixture of Sonic and Pikachu. We can get a picture.
Yeah, picture on screen.
Here's
right now,
here's the original album. Here, let me show you.
No, not that one, not that one, not that one, not that one.
Shit. My bad.
So here's
So go back up.
I'm trying to find the high school one.
And then just walk
because
around.
Christian made an album later on.
Just go. Never mind.
I was trying to go.
Okay, so here it is. Here's the photo. This is the origin of Sonichu. This is when Christian was in high school.
You're gonna have to send me all these pictures.
I will. So this is the origin of Sonichu. That's the very first appearance of Sonichu. And so they made this album,
I knew
and
that name sounded familiar.
And then here's the picture that everyone is probably more familiar with when Christian decided to make a comic book series about Sonichu. And so this is kind of like the major stuff. And would you believe me if this whole time, this whole probably like 20 minutes now of me babbling about Christian,
And we only just now got to like Sonichu.
we only now got to Sonichu. We're not even scratching the surface. We're barely there. Like, this is not like even scratching the surface. We're just like on the surface. This is very surface knowledge. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff that we could talk about. There's just a lot.
Well, I think that's...
But that's your basic introduction to Christian. That, you know...
So he's the guy that makes Sonic 2.
Yes. And so Sonichu, the comic is very interesting because it's Sonichu and it's more so about Chris, if I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, I think it's more about Chris than it is actually about Sonic 2.
Yeah, like it started off kind of being about Sonichu, but then it ended up just being more about Christian. As it went from Christian's like self-insert comic to just being about Christian, basically.
That's what you gotta switch.
Yeah. And so
Damn.
and
Why
so
are you
later
somersaulting? Just
I don't
stand
yeah
on it. Just stand on it. Well, I think isn't the somersault the same as interacting?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Just walk past it.
And so Christian would later publish these comics online, and trolls would find out who this.
Oh, thank God.
Trolls would find out who, you know, they would go online and they would see this Sonic
Jesus Christ! This stage is like awful.
It is pretty bad.
Yeah. This was like a Mario Galaxy stage.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But trolls would go online and they would see this Sonichu comic and they'd be like, "What's this Sonichu comic? Like, this is insane. Like, this is crazy. We need to find out who makes this." And so eventually they find out who Christian is.
Let's just leave.
And
we gotta say what's up to Maurice though.
We gotta leave in like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
What? This was not kindergarten.
We gotta leave in like 20 minutes.
And so I don't even know where to branch off because there's
for now
there's a lot, but for now that's your introduction to Christian. We can divide this up. I can gather my notes. I can gather my research.
Okay, I think the game's bugged right now.
Gather the notes and research.
I think the game's bugged right now.
Yeah.
God, that makes Sonic look menacing.
Yeah, but like it doesn't fit.
True.
That fits.
That does.
He's about to like just shoot Amy in the face. Oh, okay. His black eyes came back. He's classic Sonic now. I think we should update the mods.
Well, I was gonna say probably relaunch the game.
The head nod.
I'm not sure if it's like the game bugged out at some point during like the Rouge stuff.
Probably. You turned into a big time villain, Doctor.
The voice acting in this game is so Looney Tunes. Sometimes.
But it's awesome.
Sometimes, yeah.
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Oh man, Tails!
You just told me, Foxball.
You fucking dumbass.
Dumbass.
I remember the trailer for Sonic Adventure Hero or Sonic
Adventure Hero.
Sonic Adventure Hero. Sonic Adventure 2. At the end, it goes like, "Farewell, Sonic, forever." And I just like, I remember that one clip of Some Call Me Johnny, and he just looks at the future Sonic games like, "Yep."
Here, let me save these real quick. For you, if you go. So you
So,
can put them later. But
let
here,
me get this straight.
Here are the albums. Or here are just the 2 pictures.
Not only does he learn to do chaos control just from watching fucking Shadow, but he uses a fake emerald.
Yeah. Well,
Okay, the fake emerald doesn't make sense. But technically, it wouldn't be out of the ordinary for him to use chaos
I mean,
control,
if you
because
remember,
how do you think he can go super Sonic? That's chaos
if you
control.
remember, if you remember in Sonic Sonic 06 later on, they just use chaos
They
control
fucking
all the
spam it.
time.
Well,
so
they
like,
fucking spam
I
it.
guess it's not too out of.
Well-
Oh wait, this is me.
Well, because Tails made Tails made the fake emerald, and he was like, to trick Robotnik, he made it have like a similar like energy signature to the Chaos Emerald. So like it can still use Chaos Control, but it's not as strong as like what the real
It's
emeralds
like
can do.
synthetic chaos control.
Yeah, basically. It's a Chaos. It's just a Chaos Emerald made in a lab. So it's a fake Chaos Emerald, but it's still, you can still use it.
Okay.
So that begs the question: why didn't Eggman just make his own chaos?
Oh, I can move.
He's not smart enough.
That's
But
true.
a literal fox voiced by what? An 8-year-old
Yeah,
man?
yeah.
Okay.
Here's the funny thing about Eggman. He may have like 300 IQ, but he's like a terrible.
Oh!
He may have 300 IQ, but Eggman is like genuinely a terrible like mechanic.
Like a terrible, yeah.
Cause they talk about, Tails always talks about how like badly built his like things are.
Well, yeah, he has to put little animals inside of him and crap.
Long as the